In today's lesson, you will learn how to expand brackets involving negative terms. You should be able to do this by the end of the lesson. Some previous knowledge that we will require today is you should be able to expand brackets and simplify. You should be able to apply BODMAS to calculations, and you should be able to complete calculations involving negative numbers. Okay, so very similar to just expanding our single brackets, but now we need to take into account that this is a negative 10 in front of the bracket. So it's going to change our signs throughout. We have a negative 10 times a positive g. A negative times a positive is a negative. 10 times g is 10g. Again, we have a negative times a positive, which is a negative. 10 times 4 is 40. We cannot combine, one is a g term and one is just a number, so that is us finished. In part B, we have a negative term multiplying throughout again. Negative times a positive is a negative. 3 times f is 3f. Negative times a positive is a negative. 3 times 10 is 30. In example 2, the only difference here is we have an algebraic term in front of the bracket. A negative times a positive is a negative. X times y, we can only write that as xy. Now here we have a negative times a negative term. Negative times a negative is a positive. X times 5 is 5x. In part B, we've got a negative times a positive, which is a negative. 4 times w is 4w. A negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 3 is 12. In example 3, we're having to multiply out and collect like terms together. Remember from last lesson that BODMAS is really important here. Even though the bracket's at the end, brackets need to be dealt with first. So we have the bracket 1 minus 3m, which has been multiplied by a negative 2. So we need to multiply throughout by negative 2 here. The 7 can be left alone, we'll deal with that in a minute. Negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 times a negative is going to give me a positive. 2 times 3m is 6m. Now we can collect together like terms. 7 take away 2 is 5 plus 6m. You can also write this as 6m plus 5. These are both correct. In part B, the same idea, we need to remember BODMAS. So even though the bracket's at the end, the bracket being multiplied by the negative 2 is what we're going to do first. And we're going to leave the 3x alone just now. So I've got negative times a positive gives me a negative. 2 times 2 is 4. Negative times a negative gives me a positive. 2 times 5x is 10x. So what can I combine here? Well, I've got a 3x and a 10x. 3x plus 10x is 13x. And I've still got a negative 4 that has nothing to add or subtract to it.